There has been somewhat of a trend of businesses closing in Bristol. We sat down with Town Administrator Mr. Texera to see why this is and what he can do to help.
And our general question was, what does the town of Bristol do to attract new businesses and to promote economic development?
Okay, that's a very good question. We're in pretty decent shape, but there's always room for improvement, and I would be the first one to say that. And that's one of the reasons we hired an economic development coordinator just recently, within the last month and a half, Jessica Flammer. She actually is going to be able to help us. One, she will be in contact with the current businesses and find out what is it that she can do in addition to what they're already doing. Is there anything that they are missing or anything that they've been needed? And she'll be here Monday through Friday, so it's 5 days a week, unlike the previous position that we had part-time person. And that being said, that made things a little bit harder. So we merged the two positions, and now we have a full-time person and much more accessible. So that's for the current business.
Does the town offer any incentives for new businesses to come?
We do. We have what's called a tax stabilization, and what that is they pay a much more reduced rate of taxes for a 10-year period. And eventually, the first year it's lower, I believe it's 10% of the tax that would be due.
Oh, wow.
And yes, and eventually what they'll do is within the 10-year period, by the 10th year, then they will pay the full amount. But at least it gives them a certain amount of time to use, exactly, use their funding, or the money that they would use for taxes, they actually can put it towards their businesses.
What do you think some factors are that cause businesses to go out of business in Bristol?
It's a very interesting question in the sense that, I can recall there used to be a business in the downtown area, Photoshop, which to be Photo World. They were in business for 40 years. For 40 years they were. And suddenly one day it was like, wow, I'm closing the door, and I'm going, really? And, but they are not the only ones. So sure that I want to blame the owners as much as them not staying current with the technology.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's face it, nowadays you can get on a computer and purchase just about anything.
Yeah, it's so easy to, even from your phone, you can just, with fingerprint, that's all you need to buy something nowadays.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the point there. So, as a business owner, you have to be aware of, what is the technology? How does it assist you going forward? You cannot just think of it, okay, I can go to my shop or my store and put the key in the door every day and go, hey, business as usual. Well, it's no longer that. It's not business usual. You have to be creative. You have to stay up with the technology. I mean, had they only, if they did not have the capability, they should have looked. See, here's a perfect example of how we can help them, the current business, because some of the business, like, what do they do to move forward, to stay current with the current trend, of the business, technology, the computer, purchase online, and, I mean, they certainly could have done that, much of that. I'll just take Photo World for a minute. Yeah. I mean, as you know, today you can pick up your phone, you can take pictures, you can send them anywhere. You don't necessarily need to have a camera, So there's a perfect example. So is there any film with this? No, obviously not. Still, there is still a need for some of the old stuff, the old technology, thing. I mean, you still need to transfer. And unfortunately, he sort of missed the target there, or the window of opportunity, I should say, by not really staying a little more current.
It turns out that this trend is normal, as 80% of businesses fail within the first 18 months. That's why Mr. Tex offers help to new businesses, such as only having to pay 10% of the normal tax.
We wanted to learn more about the economic development of Bristol because in the past few years, our favorite businesses such as Wendy's and Blockbuster have gone out of business.
Town Administrator Texera gave us great answers as to why this is happening. Thank you to him for all his help in this process.